Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's show. I'm your host, Zach Drew.
And I'm Andrew Bellers.
I want to spend a couple of minutes right up top and talk about how our fundraiser is going for TV airtime of 2022. We have a deadline. We're going to have to be signing new contracts at the beginning of January just to continue with our needs. As you know, we've got to raise $54,000. And I am praying, I know you're praying, Andrew, that people that are watching this broadcast, that the Lord would just give them a special burden to give to the cause here at the Zach Drew Show and all of IGBY Ministries, which stands for I Go Before You. We have a long ways to go. I would be lying if I said I'm not nervous about it. Now, we have raised just over $8,000, and we have about a month to go. And we need to raise around $54,000 total. So we got about $46,000 left to go. And I want to give a special thank you to those that have given, Judy and Julia, Kelly, thank you for your generous donation. Joe, Joseph, Stephen, Joanne, Paul, Ryan, Susan, Heidi, Dennis and Jana, Sarah, Norman, and the Manholans. Thank you so much for believing in what we're doing here, believing in the cause, believing in the mission that we have at this ministry. I also want to just give a special thank you to Ruth and Robert, who recently became generous monthly partners. No matter what, we are going to continue on all of our social media platforms. And no matter what, we are going to continue through Comcast cable in the 9 million homes that we're in selective markets through the PTL television network. We're going to continue. The big question mark right now is our national coast-to-coast coverage. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to talk to you about something. I've been in some discussions with some awesome Christian people. They're the ones that work between all the shows and the networks. They kind of broker the deals, right? There has been an awesome opportunity that has risen up. It's going to cost about the exact same amount. And maybe it might cost a little cheaper, and I'll let you know, but it's still going to be around that $54,000 that we need to raise. So I was, those of you that have watched the show, they know that I was Pastor Jim Bakker's co-host for about 7.5 years. Okay. Now, I can't tell you how many times since we have started this show, I have ran into Christian people that used to watch the Jim Bakker Show or still watch the Jim Bakker Show, going to Christian conferences and them saying, Zach, hey, how are you? And the common response is, what are you doing now? And I'm like, well, do you still watch the Jim Bakker Show? Yes, well, I do a weekly show on DirecTV and Dish Network on CTN every single Monday. Get out, you're kidding. Oh, well, I'm going to have to tune in. The vast majority of people that would watch the Jim Bakker Show, that would watch the shows I did for Pastor Jim called Revelation in the News and other programs, they have no idea still that we're on national television. They can watch every single week. Well, guess what? A network, not CTN, but WHT, World Harvest Television. I was talking to a friend of mine over at the company that brokers the deals. Her name is Rebecca. A new time slot has opened up on World Harvest Television right after the Jim Bakker Show airs. Yeah. And I believe that is a godsend. I really believe that is how we will grow our base substantially. Sorry, I keep getting notifications.
For people who maybe don't know a lot about TV, that's called your lead-in. That's the show that happens right before your show. And it's incredibly important who your lead-in is. Yes. Because a lot of people who will watch the show before your show will carry over if they find any interest in what your show is.
That's right. And so just to calm any fears, for those of you that watch every week on DirecTV, on CTN, okay, that doesn't mean we're not going to be on DirecTV anymore. We're literally going to go, if we choose this route, which I believe we should choose this route, we would go from channel 376, which is CTN, to 367, which is World Harvest Television. And so all of those people that remember, I was Pastor Jim's I was actually just with Pastor Jim about 2 weeks ago, but that's But anyway, for all of those people that watch the show, at the end of that show is whenever my show would start. And I really believe that that is the missing link to radical just expansion and blessing here at this ministry. So please get involved. We have such a ways to go. We need your help desperately. Go to zachdrewshow.com, click that bright orange donate button, okay? And you can donate through Tithely or PayPal. And you can just give the old-fashioned way, just write to IGBY or the Zach Drew Show at P.O. Box 797, Decatur, Illinois 62525. Pray to God and ask him what you should give. I'm praying that everyone watching would give a generous donation. We've got a powerful, powerful show planned for you once again this week. We'll be right back after this. I would argue that in the past 40 years or so, that technology has had far more of an impact than politics. Now, I know that's quite a statement. There are far too many, and I talked about this last week, there are far too many technology kings that rule the world, that honest to God, they believe the spiritual world or spirituality, the spirit world, and technology will have a divine intersection in our future. They are connected to one another, and I do believe there's a substantial amount of truth to that, but it is demonic. Technology today, the kings of technology, they control our lives. They control the vast majority of the world's lives. Just some of the top companies, we'll just go through just a few, like Apple. It controls the vast majority of people's communication. You know, first off, it's their phone. Think about phone calls, FaceTiming, all the Apple gadgets. The company's official logo is the sign of the fall of man, right? An apple with a bite taken out of it, right? It couldn't be more obvious, their motives behind their technology. Microsoft, not only computers, but it's the leading company for PC gaming and Xbox gameplay. It's owned by Bill Gates. It controls the world that we live in. Maybe not yours, but young people's. Let me explain that to you in a moment. Amazon, it's essentially our Walmart. It's our Best Buy. It's our Books A Million, all in one. It's owned by the richest man in the world. He and Elon Musk go back and forth. Facebook, a couple billion people are on Facebook alone. Every social interaction online, it's owned by a socialist reptilian. I mean, Netflix, the number one video streaming company, which is they're Marxists, they're socialists, they truly are. You know it. You and I both know that. And now they are a major content producer, creating, shows and movies with tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars behind them. They're content creators. Mm-hmm. All of these companies are anti-God, and they control the world's eye gate. For most modern young people, let me tell you right now, if you could create some type of pie chart of their life, from the moment they wake up to they go to sleep, it would be spent. The majority of that pie chart would be spent on those 5 companies. Your people's worlds are created, they're shaped by these technology kings. And I'm telling you right now that these technology kings, psychedelics, are connected. Psychedelics will become mainstream, more so than the 60s, okay? And for those of you that believe that is just, it's crazy, just remember that we were talking about it right here. It will become legal in the United States. The first phase was marijuana, okay? Now, why marijuana? Marijuana, it was just the lowest hanging fruit. That's why they chose marijuana at first. Yeah. They used it to create a path of legislation.
Yeah,
okay?
It was the trial run.
Exactly. The next is psychedelics. Psychedelics are not like other drugs, okay? Now, for those of you, with a past, you know what I'm talking about. They are a category in and of themselves, psychedelics are. Now, you see, you need to put drugs like cocaine, methamphetamines, opioids like heroin and painkillers into one category. Those drugs, right? Bad drugs. Psychedelics, while also a drug and a bad drug, okay, in a totally different, separate category. Psychedelics are spiritual. So people taking opioids can't be, there's no spirit. No. If you're taking opioids or any of the things, these painkillers, the euphoria, you can absolutely be influenced by the demonic realm as far as even oppression. I'm not saying anything dark and sinful, there's going to be demons behind it. Mm-hmm. But in and of itself, an opioid is not a spiritual experience.
Right.
They don't prescribe it after you get back surgery for a spiritual experience. Okay? Psychedelics are a spiritual drug. There is nothing else. There's a separate category. They open you up to the demonic realm unlike other drugs. They are spirit drugs. Now, DMT, ayahuasca being the most potent. Now, DMT, ayahuasca has been naturally occurring for thousands of years since the beginning of man. People could even associate it back with the times of, the fallen angels. There are some theories there of how it came about and how they taught man, but that, how to use it. But this whole other thing, what we do know scientifically that it has been around for thousands of years. Now, it's been making a surge in America. Some of you that, would trip in the 60s, in the 60s, you don't know anything about DMT and ayahuasca. You probably didn't ever take it. But I'll tell you right now that I know many, many people that have taken DMT and ayahuasca. It's the most powerful psychedelic known to man. I remember whenever I was actually working for Pastor Jim, on the holidays, I would come back and I would visit with my old high school friends. And they knew that I was a minister. They knew my walk. I got radically saved very late in high school, okay? So they knew me before Christ and they knew me after Christ. Mm-hmm. And I was a totally changed human being after Christ. And whenever I would come back, though, because I would maintain that relationship, I would even actually go to parties. Whenever I was a Christian in my early 20s, I would go to parties when I'd come back from Pastor Jim's and to witness to people. I know that sounds so crazy. And I wasn't just going in there, the parties with Bibles. Hey, let me tell you, a soapbox. I was very creative. And I always knew everybody in the room knew what I did for a living. And I would always let them ask me a question first, because I always knew it was coming, always knew, and that was always my window to talk about the Lord. And so many times at those parties, by the end of the night, I would have 5, sometimes 10, 15 people, I kid you not. We've been in another living room or something, and I would literally just be talking to them about the things of God and sharing the salvation message with them. And the Lord used that for that time period of my life over and over again. But during that time period, I would have friends that would come up to me, and I'm not going to mention them by name, but I know them well. I knew them well. And they would want to come and tell me about their DMT experience. God, listen, Zach, you're a religious man. You study God and the Bible and stuff. Bro, I met God. What the heck? What do you mean you met God? I met God. I took some DMT, I laid back, and I had a blast. I blasted off and had an interdimensional experience. And at the end of this vision, walking and seeing all these things, at the very end, I met God. Well, what was God like? God's a woman. She's really good looking. And she told me about my life, literally things that no one else would ever know. Well, maybe that was just one singular, isolated experience, right? I had other friends that took DMT that had the exact same experience, and I've had other friends that did not know those other friends, so it wasn't like they were collaborating some type of story, would have the exact same experience. They would see the exact same things. It is a horrific, demonic experience. And, I try to talk to those friends and tell them how it was demonic, how what you're seeing, is not of God. It's an imitation. It's mocking the true things of God. But you've got to understand that they came back from these experiences never experiencing anything so real in all of their lives. It was the realest thing that they had ever known, ever experienced, ever seen in all of their lives. And then they come back to this world after their trip, so to speak, and everything just seems dim. It's not as vibrant. It's not as real, as if this is the shadow of the larger reality. And I understand for Christians, it actually is the shadow of the larger. But they felt like that. Well, how can you tell me it wasn't real? That's what they would tell me. Because what I experienced, Zach, is more real than you sitting in front of me right here, right now. It is a spirit drug to a spirit realm. And the makers of the most advanced technology in the world trip on it throughout the week. And these spirits give them ideas on how to create the technology of today and of tomorrow. Yeah. It is a merging, and there will be a merging more so like you've never seen. Did you want to say something? Because I'm going to keep going if you don't.
I want to say something quickly just about those experiences. You think about people having encounters with demons. It's not like visions of hell. I mean, one guy who talks a lot about this his name is Grant Hancock.
Oh, yeah.
And he had experience with, he went and took ayahuasca, which is like the active ingredient in ayahuasca is DMT. Mm-hmm. He went and took ayahuasca, and he had an encounter with what he calls, and what a lot of people who have the same experience, they call Mother Ayahuasca.
Which is that female god.
Yeah, and it's this female, spiritual entity, and it makes you feel like it has your best interest in mind. I mean, he has this huge testimony about it, like how he, quit smoking marijuana for a long period of time because Mother Ayahuasca visited him while he was having one of these experiences and told him, for your own good, you need to quit this. Like it's a motherly like figure. It's a caring, loving like figure, but it is completely deceptive. And like you said, DMT is the active ingredient in ayahuasca. And that's what a lot of people in the tech industry, they go to things like Burning Man, and they have breakout sessions where they go and they microdose DMT, and then they come together, and then they talk about everything that they have learned with their encounters with these spiritual entities. Those are the people who's creating the technology of tomorrow.
This is going to become mainstream. And these are articles from the past couple of years. The psychedelic revolution is coming. Psychiatry may never be the same. Start prescribing psychedelics in psychiatry. Psychedelic drug developers hit Wall Street. Mind-bending medicine, an overview of psychedelic substances. Active agent in magic mushrooms could treat addiction, depression, and anxiety. This is CBS News. CBS News. Actually on 60 Minutes. Johns Hopkins opening up a new psychedelic research center studying use of magic mushrooms and more. Johns Hopkins Medicine is launching a new psychedelic center where they are going to study the potential of so-called magic mushrooms and other drugs to treat some of the toughest mental health and addiction challenges. New study, microdosing DMT reduces depression and anxiety. Blindless miracle, cure experts in huge breakthrough with God molecule psychedelic drug. We covered this article in depth last week, and it was called The New Technologies Are Promising a Shortcut to Enlightenment. Brain stimulation, neurofeedback, synthetic psychedelics, can they deliver? My goodness, people, listen, Christians, the world is becoming darker. We believe that it is our job at this ministry, one of the things that we believe in doing, amongst other things that we feel like we're called to do, is exposing the darkness, exposing what they are doing in the dark, behind closed doors, in secret, to expose it and to bring it to light. These are all signs of the times. The world is becoming darker. The world will have to be a dark place for the masses to one day be fully immersed in some type of artificial reality. A truly dystopian future is ahead, where relief from the world's troubles are found in an artificial world like Facebook and other companies are creating right now, which they project will be done in the next 5 to 10 years. All around, everything's converging around 2030. They're building an artificial world where we will work, where we will game, where we will socialize. understand that my eschatology, which is the study of end times, says that things in the world will get progressively worse for the world before Christ comes back. I am a premillennialist. There is a plan to diminish the global strength of America. Those initiating these tactics do so on multiple fronts. They collaborate through what? Through many different groups, through many different initiatives and programs. They rally around climate change. They rally around manipulated social injustices, COVID-19, CRT, right? Critical race theory. The list could go on forever. Many names, all Marxists, filled with an antichrist spirit under the influence of their master. He is working through them, people. I believe the world is going to get darker. And those with power are building that world right now. I can't ever say her name. I'll just talk about her last name. It's Omarova, okay, which is President Biden's nominee for controller of the currency. Now, she admitted she wants to fight climate change by bankrupting coal, oil, and gas companies. And John Kerry agrees, except he even went further to provide a date for their goal, 2030. And I understand that that could end in massive electrical blackouts across the nation. They are building a new world. The World Economic Forum recently organized a gathering called the Great Narrative, which the WEF, the World Economic Forum founder, Klaus Schwab, described as a powerful catalyst to shape the contours of a more prosperous future for humanity. Here's one clip from that conference.
As one of the conclusions, the world of tomorrow will be different from what we experience today.
That's the founder of the World Economic Forum. And I need you to understand that he's talking about the Great Reset. And that is literally, for those of you that just live under a rock, that is literally what the WEF is calling it. It's just not Andrew and I. And it's as ominous as it sounds. It is a plan to reset the world by first resetting capitalism. These are direct statements, people, from their mouths. That means socialism throughout the globe, but that's just the beginning. The Great Reset is a worldwide takeover organized by some of the most powerful people in the world. And the goal is to control every aspect of our lives. No rights, no privacy, no property, and it will all be presented through what? Through the rose-colored glasses of a creation of a utopia here on earth. Golly, people. But these things, while all horrible, are not the Great Delusion that 2 Thessalonians talks about. I believe these things could have a part in making possible the Great Delusion in a foundational sense, but there is something so disturbing coming that even the elect would be deceived if that were possible. And that is Matthew chapter 24. I'm going to read this quickly for you, but you see, these are all signs of the times, which means that there is a great delusion that is coming, because it was one of the signs of the times is that a great delusion is coming. A singular lie that is so powerful, so believable, seemingly so tangible, accompanied by signs, supernatural abilities displayed that defy physics, natural laws of this world, and wonder, signs and wonders coming from the demonic realm. Wonder, awe, something unfamiliar, inexplicable, wonders that cannot be explained. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says this, "Now, brethren, concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering together to him, we ask you not to be soon shaken in mind or troubled, either by spirit or by word or by letter, as if from us, as though the day of Christ had come." So people were in that day were saying that Jesus has already come. And Paul's saying, no, people, don't be troubled. Whoever is telling these things, it's just not right. It's not true. He goes on by saying, let no one deceive you by any means. For that day will not come unless the falling away comes first. Saying, listen, people, relax, hold your horses. You'll know if Christ is coming soon. He's saying it'll not come unless the falling away comes first, and the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition, the Antichrist. He's saying Jesus hasn't come back yet. The Antichrist hasn't even been revealed yet. Okay, then he goes on in verse 9. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, and they might be saved. And for this reason, God will send them a strong delusion that they should believe the lie, a singular lie, that is accompanied with signs and wonders from the Antichrist. Something that is so powerful that Matthew 24 said, for false Christs and prophets will arise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. Something so powerful, something so that invokes such wonder that even the elect could be deceived if it were possible, which it's not possible. Mm-hmm. There is such a great delusion that God is going to allow that will be unlike anything we have ever seen. And I believe that and we'll have to talk about this more. I believe that what we're seeing, there's a day coming that's referred to as the singularity, the day where artificial intelligence will far surpass that of man. And I believe that in the day when we merge with technology, that's the fourth industrial revolution, when tech becomes embedded within us, and psychedelics are all involved here, that we will have some type of super intelligence and be like little gods with little g, in the same way it was in the days of Noah, when the sons of God, the sons of man came down and took the daughters of Eve by force, the sons of God, and they created some type of superhuman race of Nephilim and Raphaim and the men of renown, the men of great, and they are part human and they are part something else. Super intelligence. That's where they got all the technology back then. But I believe the day that's coming is that when mankind will literally merge with something else. And maybe next show we'll talk about what that merging will look like, who's developing it, and what the human race would look like if they do merge with this technology and become super intelligent humans. We are living in the end times, people. If you're not in your word every single day, you're not going to be prepared for this. Spiritually fed, strong, like a warrior. When we read the word and study the word, we become strong spiritually, well-fed spiritually, that we can withstand the storm that's coming, that the Lord can preserve us in it because of the strength that he has allowed us to have, that he has fed us through his word. If you're not in your word every day, get in your word. We're totally out of time, but listen, once again, I just remember, if we have a huge goal, we've raised just over $8,000. We've got to hit our $54,000 goal soon in the next month. Please get involved today. We'll see you next week.